What's up everybody, this is Aaron, the Excited Wanderer. In today's episode, I'm covering the top 9 cities in Japan, starting from the north to the south. I'll be highlighting a few things that you can do in these cities, and hopefully that helps you to decide if it's worth visiting on your next trip. Number 1, we have Sapporo. Located in Hokkaido, Japan's northernmost prefecture, Sapporo is famous for being a winter wonderland. There's plenty of great spots for skiing and snow sledding, like at the Mount Moiwa ski area, which offer a fun ski experience for beginners and experts alike. If you've always wanted to try to ski, this is your chance to do it. Then there's the annual Snow Festival, which attracts millions of people around the world every year. You get to see amazing ice sculptures that's built by international artists, plus they light up at night, further enhancing the overall experience. The festival is held in Odori Park and it is about 1500 meters long, so there's a lot for you to see as you make your way from one end to the other. Along the way, you'll also see plenty of food stalls selling local Japanese food like Japanese snow crab and ramen. When enjoying a meal, you can wash it down with the locally brewed Sapporo beer, which also happens to be Japan's oldest brand of beer. Finally, head to the Mount Moiwa Observatory for a great view of Sapporo City. Make sure you check the weather forecast and that you're going up on a clear day, preferably with little to no clouds. Also, make the trip at least 30 minutes before sunset. That way you'll be able to see both day and night views of the city. The observatory is also open air, so make sure you wear the right clothing if you're visiting during the winter months, otherwise you will freeze. Number 2, we have Tokyo. Now Tokyo is definitely for people who love urban city life, and it's where you can find the world's busiest pedestrian crossing in Shibuya, the world's busiest train station in Shinjuku, and the world's largest sumo stadium. For culture, you really must stop at the Sensoji Temple in Asakusa. There is a famous giant red lantern at the temple gates, plus loads of local snacks and souvenirs for you to pick and choose from. Going further into the temple itself, you'll see how the locals perform their prayers, so it's a good opportunity to be immersed in the culture firsthand. It will be very crowded during peak hours because this temple is a major tourist stop, so try to go early in the morning or late in the evening for the best photo opportunities. If you want to take a break from the hustle of the city, then head to the Meiji Jingu Shrine in Yoyogi Park. You'll stroll through a tranquil forest before being greeted by the giant torii gate at the shrine's entrance. It looks great in photos, but amazing in person. Plus, there's plenty of areas for you to take a break and have a snack. A lot of people have mentioned that there's not much to see in the shrine itself, so when you're done with your stroll and you've taken your pictures of the giant gates, just head on over to the next location on your list. If you're interested in Japan's samurai culture, the Samurai Museum in Kabukicho not only lets you see authentic samurai items like armor, helmets, and swords, but there's even English guided tours available. You'll get to learn a whole lot more about who the samurai were, what their beliefs were, and how they lived the life of the samurai. Admission costs 1800 yen per person, so it is pretty steep and you should really consider before you decide to buy. Next, we're heading down south to Yokohama, which is on the western coast of Tokyo Bay. Known for being a giant shipping port, it has plenty of foreign cultural influence from other places like China and Hawaii. This is where you'll find the world's biggest Chinatown, so you can expect lots of Chinese food like dumplings, Peking duck, and egg tarts. You'll also see a lot of Chinese-style buildings and temples. The Cup Noodle Museum is a fun stop because you get to customize your own cup of noodles. This means deciding the flavor, toppings, and you can even design the very cup itself. Once the deliciousness inside has all been consumed, you're not just left with an empty plastic cup to throw away, but a very limited edition souvenir. You designed it, so technically it's the only one of its kind in the world. And The latest attraction that's just opened is the Gundam Factory. There's a Gundam robot that's 18 meters tall, weighs 25 tons, and took 6 years to complete. Oh, and it doesn't just stand there like a statue. No. This freaking thing actually moves, although very slowly. Every hour you can catch 2 showings, one where it walks out from the dock and the other where it returns to the dock. Even if you're not a fan of anime or Gundam, it's still pretty impressive to see something so big being made to move so realistically. You'll find about 100 castles in Japan, but Nagoya Castle was actually the first to be declared as a national treasure after World War II. Originally completed in 1615 by the great shogun of Japan, Tokugawa Ieyasu, the castle has been in constant upkeep, with most of its original rooms and decor kept as is. Its roofs are adorned with the golden shachihoko, or golden tigerfish, and it has one of the largest floor spaces of any tower keep that you can explore. This is why it's a great place to visit if you're ever in the area and if you love Japanese history. The entrance fee costs 500 yen for adults and will take you about 2 hours to completely see everything. And if you're lucky, you might even catch the samurai and ninja performances. This place is especially beautiful during the cherry blossom season, as there are plenty of great spots to take photos with the trees and flowers. I've left the link to the castle's website in the description below, and you'll want to check it before you go, because some areas might be closed for maintenance. Next, if you love cars, then pay a visit to the Toyota Museum of Technology, where you'll learn about how Toyota actually started in the textile industry before going into the car business. Interesting. There's plenty of cars on display, and you'll even see an example of their production line. Entrance is free if you're over the age of 65, otherwise it's 500 yen for adults. You can learn some basic information with the free English leaflets, but if you really want to know more, you can always rent English audio guides for 200 yen. Once you're done with everything, make sure you catch the amazing violin performance played by a robot. While Nagoya does have a science museum with its own planetarium, most of the information is only available in Japanese, so you might want to skip this if you don't speak the language. Instead, I'd suggest you to get a delicious miso katsu meal at Yabaton in Nagoya Station. Miso katsu is a dish where deep-fried pork cutlets are topped with a savory miso sauce and served with fluffy Japanese white rice. Nagoya is famous for its miso, and Yabaton has been serving customers its secret miso sauce for over 70 years. Here are a few tips before you go. This place gets really crowded during peak hours, so try to go a bit earlier or in between lunch and dinner meal times. The restaurant isn't very spacious and it fills up really quickly. English menus are available upon request, and you don't like fatty cuts, you can order the hire katsu, which is the pork fillet. It should be more lean and have way less fat, so you can enjoy it even more. Kyoto to me is all about immersing yourself in Japan's rich cultural heritage. One of my favorite spots is the Fushimi Inari Taisha Shrine, which is known for its iconic red torii gates. As many as 10,000 of them are there in fact. It's a great spot to take some truly amazing photos, and if you hike to the top, you'll get a breathtaking view of Kyoto City. Unfortunately, this shrine is super popular and gets really crowded, so if you don't plan ahead, I can guarantee it won't be a great experience for you. But don't worry, let me hook you up with some tips. Number 1, avoid going at the end of the year or during New Year's, because that's when it is the most crowded. Yes, this shrine isn't just a favorite among tourists, but to the locals as well, as they prefer to come to this beautiful shrine to pray. In fact, just avoid coming here on any public holiday in Japan at all. Number 2, try to go on a weekday, either early in the morning like 7 AM or earlier, or later in the evening at about 6 PM. This will help you to avoid most of the tour groups that arrive and leave by the busload. Finally, if you're able to make the 30 to 45 minute hike to the top, you'll get a great view of the night city lights. Make sure you bring along some food and water in case you get hungry midway through the hike. Next, we have Kinkakuji, or the Golden Pavilion. I'm always on the fence about recommending this place to people. On one hand, it is really unlike anything that I've ever seen. The golden building really is beautiful and it looks so serene out on the pond like that. On the other hand, that's where the serenity ends because you will be constantly surrounded by loud talking tour groups and having selfie sticks come dangerously close to hitting you. There really is no way to avoid the crowds because the Golden Pavilion is open from 9 AM to 5 PM, which is peak hours. If you really want to come here, make sure you're both physically and mentally prepared to face the crowd. And once you've seen the Golden Pavilion, feel free to leave because there's really nothing much else to see in the area. For something a little bit different, you can head to the Iwatayama Monkey Park. It's open from 9 AM to 4:30 PM, costs 550 yen to enter, and it gives you a chance to get close to the native species of monkeys. This time, the humans are the ones looking from inside the cage, as the monkeys are free to roam around. You'll be able to buy fruit and snacks to feed the monkeys with, and it's a great place for adults and kids alike. However, before you can get to the top where the monkeys are and where the fun begins, you'll have to do a 20 to 30 minute hike first. It can be a challenging climb, so make sure to pace yourself and wear the right shoes. Unfortunately, the initial part of the hike also has steps that make the park non-buggy and non-wheelchair friendly.